Hi guys, so for my speech today, I want to talk to you all about the special occasion of my life, and that was graduating high school. That cleared the path for me to get to Immaculata. Obviously, all of us know that graduating high school, that was a big moment in our lives, especially for all the conflicts like COVID and everything. We went through a lot, and it was a big moment to reach this point, so that's why I chose to talk about it today with you all. I remember the day because it was a really emotional time and also exciting at the same time, so it made it feel surreal. I started the day by waking up early in the morning. The day felt surreal because it felt like just a day before I was going into high school as a new freshman, not knowing what to expect, or the conflicts, or the problems, or any good things that would happen as I went through the 4 years at Delran High School, which is where I'm from. It's in New Jersey. I remember walking to my school feeling overwhelmed about if I would ever make it to graduation, but yet the day still came, and it was a good day indeed. I woke up, got dressed before preparing to go to school to practice for graduation, which is a big tradition in our high school. When I got to the school, you could tell that everyone was happy but overwhelmed at the same time. Everyone had a lot of emotions and they didn't know exactly how to feel about the day, and I think that's what any big moments in our lives, anyone's going to feel that way. And I know I was going through a lot of different emotions and couldn't exactly explain all of them, so that was why. And then you can obviously see everyone else going through that. That made it even special. There were some people who seemed to be upset because they knew things were going to change after today. They weren't going to walk through those halls anymore or talk to the same people. They were going to go out into the new world and meet a whole new people, and that's scary for a lot of people because they don't know what's going to happen or if they'll even be able to make it in the real world, because they spent 12 years in the same school with the same peers. So going into a new world is definitely a new experience. It was new for me when I got to Immaculata, which I'll talk later about in the speech. So obviously for everybody, it was a whole new world after today, and I don't think any of us knew how we were going to respond the next day when everything would be different. We just had to let that moment sink in forever. Obviously, we're only going to get this moment once, so we had to cherish every moment that we would get with each other. The reason why we were at school is because we had to rehearse before the big ceremony later in the evening. We would just have to sit and in our rows and pay attention to everything that was going on, because obviously there's a lot that goes into planning and everything, and that's what even made it more special as we were going in. I remember we all lined up in the hallway in order of our graduation, and then we would walk outside to the football field where all the action was going to take place later that evening. And obviously it's in June, so it's hot out, so that made it even more memorable, which I'll get to in a minute. So next we walked through the hallways where we had all our classes. Was a special moment because it brought back memories from the past 4 years. I learned so many things in these rooms that I would carry with me forever. Like I said before, it was a warm June day outside as we walked outside toward the field where the stage was set up for us to receive our diplomas later that night. We lined up in our rows and went through the whole process so we would ensure that everything would run smoothly for tonight. Even though it was a warm up, it still felt weird having my name announced. Obviously, you only get that moment once, so you want to cherish it. And even like when I walked on the stage, even in rehearsal, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, we're actually here, and that's a big moment in our lives. It took some time for it to just sit in that I'm actually graduating high school. After rehearsal, we all boarded school buses to go to all of our former schools in the district for the annual clap out. So the clap out is a tradition they've been doing at my high school for a while. It's basically when you're a graduating senior on the day of graduation, while all the underclassmen are in school regular day. It's a half day, so everyone will get out at noon. We would be practicing for graduation, and then we would go to all the other schools in the district, like the elementary school, the intermediate school, and the middle school. And obviously you get to see a lot of teachers, former coaches, and obviously you get to see the position that these young kids are in, and you have to remember that you were in their position not too long ago. So it's a very surreal moment and even emotional at the time. So we all boarded the buses. I remember my friend group and I were all on the same bus together, so it was fun that we were all able to share this moment together because this was our last official day as classmates. Obviously, we'll still be friends forever, but the last day we were high school students, and the next day was a whole new world. It was weird sitting on the bus in our gowns. We do the clap out in our gowns. Our gowns were white because you only graduate high school once, so we had no idea how to even describe the emotions that myself and others were feeling. Our first stop on the clap out was the middle school. This was the school that we entered before going into high school. I remember I entered through the same doors as I did when I was in 6th grade, 6 years prior to that, to say one last goodbye to the school that was our first school where we switched classes together, we met new people, new teachers, and you really start to get those interactions and get close. It was also the first school where we had sports, so that made it even more special. This was the first time I was on the track team and the wrestling team there prior to doing it in high school, and obviously that was a whole other level. So we walked through all of our former halls and the younger students as they cheered us on. And I also got to see a lot of other coaches and teachers, which was really cool. After the middle school, we went to the intermediate school, which we all went through when we were in 3rd to 5th grade. This one was different than the others, in which it was done outside. We walked through a line of crowded kids, all holding posters which read "Go Senior," "Congrats," and all fun stuff like that. I think going through all these schools is a very big moment because obviously, you're graduating high school and, you go back and you're just like memory, like, man, that wasn't too long ago. I was in these positions, and now you get to see all these little kids and inspire them to do the same. So, the big message is to keep going and stuff like that. The last stop on the clap out was the elementary school. This is where you spent in Delran kindergarten to 2nd grade. So we walked through, the principal from the elementary school greeted us, same principal as when I was there, so that made it even more special. It was a little different setup than what I remember, but that made it even more important to see how things have changed. So I got to see one teacher that I was really close with in kindergarten, and I still keep touch with her today on social media and stuff like that, so that was a big moment. And you get to see all these little kids that were young, and you're like, you get to inspire them to do the same. So just keep going is the message. So after all that, it was like the calm before the storm. Basically, we had like a 3-hour break before the actual graduation ceremony would take place. So I remember I went home for a little bit, ate lunch, and took a nap real quick. Then I got up, got changed and everything, and then eventually went over to the high school. So I got there, and then you walk through where you have to do the same exact order as what you did in the morning, and you see all my classmates crying and stuff like that because obviously it was very emotional. So as we're waiting, you get a little nervous and anxious, and you're like, wow, this is actually happening, I can't believe it, stuff like that. So we would walk out to the high school, big crowd, obviously a lot of families out there cheering us on and everything, stuff like that. So I remember we were sitting there listening to all the speeches. A good friend of mine who was our class president, Michael Digney, he gave a good speech that was very inspiring for us to go all. Obviously talked a lot about COVID, which made it even more surreal because obviously we lost a lot of moments when we were with COVID. We couldn't see each other and stuff like that, just how a lot of us all know. So the next thing, and then after he gave his speech, basically it was time to get the diplomas. Obviously my class was big, there was 275 students total, so it made it even a big moment to walk up. So eventually they got to K's because my last name is Kakowski. So I walked up, and it's like you hear your name around, you hear the crowd going, it's just like a big moment. You're just in like your feels, like you can only get it once, so you just want to be in the moment. I remember I was close to my principal at the time. He gave me a hug and stuff like that. And then as I walked off the stage, I had this diploma in my hand. I'm like, wow, that actually just happened. So yeah, big moment then. And then afterwards, it was a big celebration, lots of pictures and stuff like that. And like, even though you only graduate high school once, it's a big moment in your lives, and you want to cherish it every moment after that. So after that was pretty much everything. Like, we all went home, we hung out afterwards, had a big after party to celebrate our graduation. Now, obviously the summer's full of all grad parties, but like, that is basically how I got here to Immaculata and how I'm doing this speech right now and able to tell a story And I'm sure a lot of you can relate with how high school graduation was special to you. So thanks for listening.